Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Now, I'm out here with Arwen, hanging out, following her around, trying to keep her in frame. So if she ends up out of frame, I apologize. Okay? But today I am going to talk about exactly what happens in a day for goats. Because I've been asked a lot about, are goats really as much trouble as everyone says? Are goats really that crazy? Well, yes, goats are the cause of all the chaos. Okay? They are chaos incarnate on the farm. Anyone who has goats knows exactly what I'm talking about. Goats are chaos. Not sometimes, not just when they're bored, always. So if you're thinking about getting goats, let this be your warning. You are inviting chaos to live on your farm, rent-free, with an unlimited appetite. So let's do kind of a humorous take on what goes on for goats during a day. Because it's interesting and it varies day to day. So I'm just going to talk about a few things, and we are going to mention a handful of things, and we're going to make it as humorous as we possibly can. So what do goats get up to when they wake up in the morning? Whatever. So as the light spills across the pasture, your herd will awaken. They stretch, they yawn, and then immediately they start planning how they're going to ruin my day. The matriarch steps out first. And before she passed, our matriarch was a lady named Lily, and she ran the show. She was always scanning the horizon. Not for predators, for opportunity. Behind her, the others would start warming up, which consists entirely of headbutting whoever happens to be within headbutting range. Doesn't have to be another goat. It could be a chicken or the fence. Didn't matter. Even Arwen here, our little queen of chaos, is already figuring out what part of the hay supply she's going to dismantle first. And that is a reference to yesterday and her knocking over a good dozen hay bales in the garage. They're still knocked over in the garage. I still haven't picked them up. They're leaning against the truck. I don't know. We're not going to worry about it. Arwen is a hazard. Goats are a hazard. So, as your morning progresses, what goes on? Well, the human arrives. That's me. You bring the feed bucket. Someone's got to bring the food and the hay. Someone's got to do it. If nobody does it, you're in trouble. And the moment someone appears with food, any semblance of order is going to collapse. One goat stands in the doorway, blocking everyone else. Another tries to leap into the bucket. Why? I don't know. And if Arwen has been in the mood, well, she's in the shed before I can get the feed in the feeder's, head buried in grain, tail wagging like she hasn't been caught in this exact act every single day of her life. Scientists might call this opportunistic feeding behavior. I call it goat theft. She's thieving. She's a thieving little goat. That one right there. She's a thieving little goat. She is a nasty thieving little goat. I love her very much, but she's a thieving little goat. So once breakfast is over, you might think the chaos slows down. It does not. This is the phase I like to call project management, where the goats make a to-do list of things to destroy. Fence panels are inspected for weaknesses. Someone's got to inspect the fences, might as well be them. The chicken coop is checked for snack opportunities. Arwen's usually in the garage by now, reorganizing that hay pile that she already knocked over. And by reorganizing, I mean knocking some more over and leaving them in an artistic heap and trying to knock them down onto the cats. Because goats, man, when people say goats are chaos and goats are nonsense, they mean it. And sometimes out of nowhere, your herd will launch into a full-blown stampede to nowhere. They're not going anywhere. Because chaos doesn't need a reason or a destination. In the heat of the day, the goats will appear to rest. Afternoon arrives, it gets hot. They sprawl in the shade, chewing cud, eyelids drooping. To the untrained eye, they look so peaceful. But seasoned goat keepers know this is just the reset phase. They are simply recharging, quietly plotting the next round of trouble. And if you crinkle so much as a snack wrapper during this time, chaos mode reactivates in an instant. It's very annoying. But what can you do? Nothing. You can't do nothing. And then evening arrives. As the sun sets, it's time for goats to come in for the night. You would think it would be a simple task. It is not. It is not a simple task. One goat pretends to forget where the gate is. Another stands in the gate, blocking all progress. And inevitably, someone starts a headbutting match just to keep things interesting. Because why relax just because evening has arrived? Why bother? Just amp it up. Why not? Arwen, meanwhile, will decide she's not coming in until she's had one more bite of whatever she's been eating. What is she eating right now? I don't know. Doesn't matter. She's fine. We're not going to worry about it. She's fine. We're not worrying about it. Eventually, after a lot of bribing and negotiating, the herd goes in and the day ends. But here's the truth. Goats don't go to bed thinking about sleep. They go to bed planning tomorrow's chaos. Because goats are chaos incarnate. I love goats. I will tell you every single day that I will never not have goats. We are going to add more goats because I love goats and I want more goats than we currently have. Okay, right now we're on one because we were waiting for the older ones to die off as I go in a new direction with my goats. So we're down to just Arwen, ready to launch into our new direction. But I'll never not have goats. But you need to know what you're getting into. Goats are one of the animals that people get into with no understanding exactly how much insanity they'll be asking for and exactly what's involved in what I like to call goat nonsense. They have no idea. And it's a cause of a regret for people who get goats, weren't ready for it, had no idea it was happening. It was going to happen that way. And so they end up bailing on goats. It is better to know ahead of time that goats are bonkers. Because they are. Let's be fair. Goats are insane. Okay? They are pure insanity. So know that before getting started. But that is, yes, hyperbole. A little bit of a hyperbolic take on the day in a goat's life. But it's not entirely exaggerated. They do absolutely the most ridiculous things. They look for ways to die. They look for ways to make your life miserable. And they look for ways to make you laugh. So it's fun and chaotic and wonderful all at the same time. So at the end of the day, you just end up with goat chaos, and you're going to either love it or hate it. Tomorrow, they will rise again to climb, to plot, to steal. Because goats they're not just livestock. They are chaos with hooves. And I wouldn't have it any other way, most of the time. But know what you're getting into. Because if you don't, you're going to end up regretting getting into one of the most joyous animals that I've ever had the pleasure to raise. That's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Let me know in the comments below if you've had your own share of goat nonsense on your farm. We'll see you tomorrow.